What's going on, Papa Fam? Welcome back to day 3 of the 5-day Amazon challenge. I know you guys are hyped. It's been a crazy few days so far. You guys are absolutely incredible. The support, the retention, just insane amount of support. We are showing the world what the Papa Fam is about. Guys, let's go ahead. Drop where you're watching from right now. Welcome, guys, to day 3 of the Amazon 5-day challenge. Let's do this, guys. What's going on, guys? I can see the comments rocking in right now. This is incredible stuff, guys. I literally cannot tell you the support you guys give, the energy you give off is absolutely something that I have never ever seen before. There we go. We got Malaysia in the house. We got United States. We got India. We got UK. Let's go, guys. Incredible, incredible stuff. Egypt is in the house too. Whoa, that's awesome, man. Guys, are you guys ready? Let's go ahead and kick it today. We're going to go ahead and jump into day 3 of the 5-day Amazon challenge. I'm going to be showing you guys what we're going to be doing today, and we're going to be going over yesterday's homework. So get ready for it, guys. Let's start off with day 3. Remember, guys, if you haven't already, first link in the description, sign up to day 5 because that's where you're going to get all the prizes, all the good stuff is coming, right? But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and demo what we're going to be building today, guys. So check this out. This is what we're going to be going through in today's session. So yesterday we left off with a beautiful looking responsive Amazon build, right? And you guys came through. Oh boy, did you guys come through. You guys killed it with the homework submissions. And today we're going to implement sign-in functionality. So you can go ahead and sign in with Gmail, Google. Oh, that's interesting. That's the first time. Let me go ahead and sign in. But yeah, we're going to have full sign-in functionality, which will work. It just worked a second ago. We're going to go ahead and have full sign-in functionality, and then we're going to have a Redux basket functionality. So you can go ahead and add items to your basket, and then we're going to be able to check out. Now we have got protection. If you aren't signed in, it's going to stop you from checking out. But everything is going to go ahead and kill it today, guys. So let me know if you're excited right now. And yeah, I'm about to go through the previous yesterday's submissions because remember, it's all about those points because this is a 5-day challenge. Okay, guys. So we're going to kick it. Let's get into this today, guys. Okay. If you haven't already, remember, reserve your spot. First link in the description, comment I am registered if you are ready for day 5 where we do the big ultimate training, which is completely free. It's going to show you guys how to go ahead and maximize your skills and land your dream job. Okay, so first link in the description, sign up now. Remember, guys, join our Discord server. Okay, we're going to be we're active over there. We're active over on the Facebook group. This is the main place where you need to be if you're part of this challenge. Okay. The Facebook group is crazy engagement right now. Everyone is helping each other out. You guys are insane. This is what I want to show the world, what the Papa Fam is about. And this Facebook group does exactly that. And we're going to go over and show you some of the support from some of you amazing people right now. Okay. So remember, share on your stories. I've been watching your Instagrams. This is incredible stuff when you tag me. I love to see your faces and getting involved. Okay. So this is awesome stuff. Now remember, guys, day 5 is where we reveal the winners. Exclusive surprise for every single person who signs up, right? So it's going to be incredibly fun. And this is where we go ahead and do that massive training where we show you how to land your dream job, okay? So it's going to be so much fun. First link in the description. Sign up now, okay? Now here's the prizes. Let's go through it one more time. Diamond membership for first place, right? I love our gifts. Second place, Platinum Bootcamp Experience, 3 in fact, okay? And then third place, we have 10 lucky winners. So there is a huge number of prizes up for grabs. You do not have to worry if you are starting late. Just make sure you get everything in before the 5th day because that's where we go ahead and tally everything up, okay? It's only fair, right? So I warned you. Remember, on day 5, I'm going to be opening the doors to 0 to Full Stack Hero. So it's going to be incredible. Be there. There's going to be an offer that you will never see again. Okay, so make sure you're signed up. Now, guys, point systems. Remember, 1 point for sending a message on any social media platform, 2 points for tagging me, 3 points for helping someone else on their homework, 4 points for referring someone on the Amazon challenge, and 5 points for all of your homework submissions, okay? So make sure you go ahead and join in, otherwise you won't be able to be a part of this challenge. So guys, yesterday's homework, what did you beautiful people deliver on? Because it was insane, right? The homework was to build the complete front end of the Amazon build, right? And you guys did more than that, holy crap. And it was a little bit more than that. It was to implement the fake store API, okay? So this was pulling data from an API and then going ahead and representing it on the screen, okay? So we received over 400 submissions. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, right? As the sort of streams go on, you're gonna see the numbers dip, right? And this is because the challenge gets harder and harder and harder. So only so many people are gonna stick it through. You can see right now, the viewership's gonna come down as the days go on. And I'm ready for this, right? Because there are only so many of you who are going to, persevere, wanna change your life, and are making zero excuses to not finishing this challenge, okay? So keep on pushing. 400 submissions, incredible stuff, right? So keep on going, guys. Now, you guys nailed it, right? I'm not gonna lie, you guys went above and beyond. I did not expect the sort of response that we got from the homework. So let's go ahead and check out some of your Amazon builds, right? So guys, right now, if you see your name on the screen, go crazy, okay? This is your time to shine. This is some of your beautiful homework. We had Mason coming in clutch, amazing clone, right? Everything was built perfectly. Well done, dude, and you should be proud of yourself. Samuel, again, perfectly built clone, right? So this was really nice to see that you guys followed it through, got everything working, and that was incredible to see that. Nancy came through, clutch, looks amazing, well done. Alex Tay, dude, incredible stuff, and I really love this build. Now this one, holy crap, if you're in the Facebook group, you would have seen this one. Dash Santosh, right? I even know this guy because I've seen it. But he basically went ahead and was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to build everything myself. He went and built his own little Amazon, right? So he pulled data from the API, the fake store API, and boy, did you kill it. You absolutely killed it. I can see KJS in the chat. Hey, I'm 13 and made all the projects in the challenge. You keep killing it, dude. Dash, incredible work, dude. Like, I'm not joking. That was actually really impressive. Juliana coming in, and I can see she added some internationalization in there. Love that. Rosen, look at this, looking clean, fresh. He actually had some different sort of products being represented on the screen. Natasha from Germany, killing it once again. And guys, we have a few different mentions right now, okay? So if you're mentioned right here, you're gonna get 10 extra bonus points in this challenge. You guys are killing it, okay? And remember, if I don't shout you out, it doesn't mean I haven't seen it, okay? Me and Jay are literally working overtime to check all of your homework submissions. So don't worry. If I don't shout you out, do not worry, okay? It is okay, right? You will still be represented out. Khalid, let's look at yours, dude. This one was a lot of fun. Look at this. You had a nice little animation right there. I believe, look at this nice little hovering effect. And I believe you had a sidebar. No, it wasn't Khalid. Maybe it wasn't Khalid. Oh, you had the live search. So if I go ahead and say test, look at that, guys. That's incredible. He had a little live search feature. I love that. So well done, Khalid. You definitely deserve that. We had Akash, and this was the one with the sidebar functionality. What only sort of feedback I'd give you here is reduce the font, because the font here is a bit too big in comparison to the rest of it. And also you have this red here, whereas I would have preferred it to be a slight, it merging into the rest of the page. But this is the part I liked, right? That's really nice. Again, a little bit of feedback, add some more padding around the top. You guys know I will always be real with you because I want you to learn and be the best. So add a little bit of padding at the top, but otherwise, great job, dude. Looks fantastic. So well done, man. Let's go ahead. Oh, Khalid says, click add to basket. Oh, I will do that, dude. I will check that one out. Richard Rose, I love this one. So look, very sleek. He followed everything perfectly. And then he added a perfectly finishing footer section. And look, it's just like Amazon. So this makes it just seem all the more, genuine, authentic. So dude, amazing stuff. I'm seeing you in the challenge, dude. Great contribution. And then we've got Sai Pranay, who actually went ahead and converted all the pricing over to Indian rupees, which is incredible stuff. I'm sure it's rupees, yes. And this is looking amazing, dude. So incredible work. Guys, you should be proud of yourself. That was absolutely awesome, right? You guys have been on fire You have been helping each other out. And remember, that does result in extra points. And I am tallying all of this up, right? So I'm literally sitting here. I barely am sleeping in these days because I'm sitting there trying to tally up everyone. You'll see me engaging in the comments, trying to get involved. You guys are killing it, right? So well done. Thank you so much. Khalid says, I also added single product page. And you know what? I do want to see that actually. Let me go ahead and check this one out. Let's go ahead and click on Khalid and let's click on a product. Wow, look at that, guys. Incredible work, dude. That's amazing. Look at this, guys. Add to basket as well. Whoa, that's awesome, dude. You should just run the challenge. So what we're going to be doing today is obviously you can go ahead and link in Redux so you actually get your live challenges there, but incredible stuff. Really amazing stuff, Khalid. Well done, guys. Shout him out in the chat. That's very impressive, right? So guys, like I said, you guys are helping each other out. You're on fire. Look at some of these responsive that we have, right? Check this out. Incredible stuff. Like we had people, you know, showing screenshots. And one thing I'll say, guys, is well done, because the one thing I can't stand is when somebody says I am stuck, but they don't show the error. And you guys were showing videos, you were showing pictures of where you were stuck, and then you were explaining it so that way everyone could actually help you. That's the way you need to do it, guys. So that is really, really awesome to see. And I want to say again, well done, and keep on with that energy, okay? So amazing stuff, guys. Really, really impressive, right? So we had a few more positive comments. I love this. This was one that we saw quite a lot. Save the Tailwind config file and rerun the project. Yes, 100%, right? So much love, guys. So much love. And oh, I wasn't even sharing the screen. There you go. Here you go. Right, this is amazing stuff, right? So let's go ahead and carry this on. All right, so much love during this challenge. I love the positivity. This is what we're about, guys. I see you all, and I really, really do love and appreciate even the donations. You guys are incredible. But guys, enough of the community stuff, right? This is where we get into it. We have a lovely donation by Ruts. Thank you so much, because you are the best, man. MongoDB on MySQL. Nice. I'm not sure. We're not going to be talking about anything else besides the work. So we're gonna get into this a little bit, okay? Guys, we just broke 100 likes. Amazing stuff, guys. Let's push to 200 and let's get this up on the road. This is looking amazing. Let's carry on, guys. But now it's time to focus, right? We're here to do some serious work today, okay? So let's get into this. Let's get on that thinking cap and let's get the energy up, and then we're gonna go ahead and get focused for today's build, okay, guys? So let's do this. The agenda for today is to build the authentication and the checkout flow, okay? So we're gonna be going ahead and actually having NextAuth Authentication for this portion of the build, right? So this is going to be how you implement authentication so that you can have the user's authenticated state even in the server-side rendered portion of your Next.js build. Okay, that's actually incredibly powerful, and you guys are going to learn how to do it. And trust me when I say it's surprisingly easier than you would think, right? So I'm going to make this extremely easy. We have Barcelona in the house. What's up, Roger? Good to see everyone here. Danny Lockhart says, dude, I love your channel. Dude, I love you for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for turning in and you know, sticking with this, right? We're also going to be building, like I said, the checkout page. So this beautiful page that you're seeing right here, we're going to go ahead and use Redux. So if you haven't used Redux or you're excited to use Redux, smash the thumbs up button. We're almost at 200 likes. We're going to go ahead and keep on pushing, okay? So guys, are you ready? Let's go ahead and get this build started, right? Remember, if you run into any problems, don't freak out, okay? Do not stress. Go into the Facebook community, ask for help. This whole challenge is about learning. It's about experiencing new things. And it's about, you know, pushing your limits as to where you don't feel comfortable, right? You want to go ahead and feel really uncomfortable in this one, because the goal for me is to make you comfortable in that uncomfortable space, right? That's it, right? And then we're going to go ahead and land your dream job day 5. That's how we do it, right? So let's get today started, guys. Right. This is what we're going to be building, okay? Now, remember, yesterday I went ahead and showed you the Amazon starter template. So if you have missed that, you can go ahead and check it out from yesterday's portion of the build. Follow it. Do not worry if you're late to the challenge. You can still contribute. You can still get started with the challenge. And guys, remember, don't even worry if you're completely late or you missed day 5. Just remember, do this for yourself as well. This is absolutely free. So make sure you push your knowledge and go ahead and do it, right? Now, again, you guys are awesome. You submitted all of the homework as needed. This is the same principle for today. After we have finished today's build, The link is in the description. All you need to go ahead and do is hit that link and go ahead and submit your homework. And make sure if you haven't already, remember, step 1 is sign up for the last day. So you just need to go ahead, click save my spot. Otherwise, I can't reserve you a spot in the final day. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. So you can see I've actually got the code from yesterday's build up and running over here. Now, most of you experience this problem where if you run yarn run dev, right, and it doesn't say Tailwind, you're going to have to open up your files, go ahead and go to your Tailwind config and hit save, right? And then you can see you have enabled the JIT engine. So that's a little bit of a bug that will happen from time to time when you're coding with Tailwind JIT, which is a new preview feature. Okay, so it's very powerful, but we're going to go ahead and that's just a little fix for you guys to go ahead and get started. Now guys, we are literally at 300 viewers across platforms. Thank you so much, guys. Share this with your friends. Let's get the likes up, let's get the viewers up, let's get the energy up, and let's get building the beautiful Amazon clone. Okay, so guys, remember, authentication and checkout is the theme for today's build. And where we're going to get started off is we're going to go ahead and think about what we're trying to do. Remember, the way we try and approach a problem is we look at what we currently have. So in this case, we have our build, and then we kind of break it down. Okay, so let's break this down. So the first thing I want to do is I want to figure out the authentication. So right now, when I click on Hello Sunny Sanger, it just doesn't do anything. Okay, I want to have a login state. So we're going to begin this build with the authentication portion. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to be using something called NextAuth. So you can go ahead and Google it if you want to check it out, and you can go ahead and see NextAuth.js, right? Now, this is the authentication platform for Next.js, and you can either use this or Firebase, but today I'm going to be showing you how to use NextAuth and the benefit of using this over Firebase is it's a lot easier to get the users authenticated state on the server side render. Okay, now guys, we are so close to 200 likes. Let's keep on pushing. And before we get started, guys, I'm going to go ahead and have a quick water break. Hydrate yourself, get your coffee, and yeah, let's do this together. Okay, let's do this, guys. Incredible support, guys, and trust me, I'm going to see the viewers, like, you know, we're going to get only the real ones are going to stay to the end, and I want to see who actually can push themselves to that spot. So here we're going to click on get started, and the way it works with authentication in Next.js is the setup is actually incredibly simple, to be honest. Firstly, we need to install NextAuth. So you're going to go ahead and copy NextAuth, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce a second panel. Okay, so a second terminal at the bottom over here. Now, once I've got this open, I'm simply going to go ahead and type in yarn add, and I'm going to type in NextAuth. Okay, this is going to go ahead and pull in the NextAuth dependency into my project. Okay, so that shouldn't take too long. Once that's done, the next step to go ahead and get this set up, let's go ahead and see. Umang says, Sunny, will you be adding the product quantity selection in this build? You can definitely extend the build to include the product quantity if you want to. Remember, bonus points for those extra beautiful features. And I want to go ahead and, you know, I want to make it to a point where it challenges you, and then you can take it the extra step further. Okay, so amazing stuff. Okay, so yarn add, and then we go NextAuth. So that's gone ahead and added it, and that's looking perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on. Command J to hide our terminal. Go back over here and Command B, and let's open up our file tree. Now the magic point here is actually going to be in the pages. Okay, so when we're using Next.js, the really nice part is that we actually had, hey Sunny, finally we got each other on the live session. What's up, Joseph? Good to see you here, dude. Welcome to the stream, man. Right, so guys, when we do use Next.js, rather than setting up a separate kind of express server, typically when we have a React app, we just have the front end, right? We just have a front end. But when we use Next.js, it actually bundles in a little hidden backend for us. And to access that backend portion, all we need to do is simply add in a folder called API, okay? So I'm going to show you how simple it is to go ahead and do this, okay? So to get this working, all you need to do is inside of our pages folder, add in a new folder and call it API. Okay, this is going to be our API endpoint. So we're literally going to go ahead and have our own API endpoint working in this build right now. Adrian says, no way is this live. Well, you know, there you go. I hope that answered it, dude. Right, so check this out. So we've got the API over here, And then what we're going to be doing is simply going ahead and adding in an additional folder called auth. So you click on API, click on add folder, and this introduce auth. Okay, now it's a bit kind of quirky because it's kind of a nested folder structure, but what we're going to do then is we're going to add a new folder. Okay, and this new folder has a bit of an interesting name here. Okay, so what I recommend is you simply copy the folder name here. So it's literally going to have square bracket dot 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 NextAuth.js. Okay, in pages API auth. You see that? So all we have to do here is go ahead, click on auth, new, and then I'm going to go ahead and paste. So it's NextAuth.js. So now you can see, guys, inside of API, inside of auth, I have this file. Okay, and this is going to be responsible for handling all of the authentication inside of our application. Okay, now the next step is, honestly, it's actually not that difficult to get this up and running. Okay, the next step is a bit simple. What we do is we go ahead and we simply say, I'm going to go ahead and actually, you can pretty much copy this. Okay, so you can copy up the example that they have here, and we're just going to change around a few of these things. Okay, right now they have GitHub as your login provider. It's actually extremely easy to add in Facebook, GitHub, Google login. If you saw the Facebook build, I actually did Facebook login, right? And today I'm going to show you Google login, and then you can combine as many different types as you want, and it just works. Right? Ardash says, seeing you code is an inspiration. You make coding fun. Thank you so much, dude. I really appreciate that comment. That's honestly very nice that you did. So to change this to a Google sign-in, all we have to do is say providers.google. That's it, right? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to connect a database here, so I'm going to get rid of this line. Right? Now here you can see you can add more providers. So it's as easy as simply going ahead and copying this line and saying, rather than this, you can say GitHub. And then you provide the credentials. Now, each provider has a client ID and a client secret. Well, typically, some of them require additional information, but in this case, it is pretty simple. Now, here it says GitHub ID and GitHub secret. That's going to change, right? Here, we're going to say Google ID, and this one is going to be Google secret, okay? There we go. We got our Google ID and we've got our Google secret. This is a single underscore in case anyone's wondering. Okay. Views Jart says, I like the way you teach. Well, guys, I like the way you support the stream. So it's a two-way street, right? Thank you so much for being here. And guys, we just passed 200 likes. I appreciate you guys so much. Let's break 300 as we keep on building this app, right? So here we're going to see, now you might have never seen this syntax, process.env. This stands for environment variables. Now, why do you want to have something called an environment variable? It's because sometimes you have credentials that you don't want to share, right? Sometimes you don't want to share these credentials because they're private. Sometimes you can share some stuff, it's public, but in most cases, when you have secret keys or private keys, you don't want to share that with the rest of the world. Otherwise, everyone's going to be doing havoc, causing havoc inside of your database, okay? So this is going to help you out a ton. So we're going to do process.env, and then you've got Google ID and Google secret. Now, in order to populate these with variables, I've actually added in a beautiful little file for you, and it's actually a part of this starter template. So if you click on .env.local.example, you're going to see the example environment file that you will have, and inside of here you see Google ID where it says key goes here, and Google secret where key goes here, and then you also see NextAuth, and I've made it extremely easy for you. Okay, so you have a little comment saying authentication here. Now all you need to do, guys, is go ahead and rename this file and get rid of the example. Okay, get rid of the example, and now you can see we have this working. And the reason why my syntax highlighting is working, and if you want the same thing, you can go ahead and install the env plugin, okay, the env extension, and then you'll get nice little syntax highlighting inside of your environment file. Okay, so this is how we go ahead and get this working. Guys, this is incredible. You guys are honestly killing it today with this chat. This is really, really nice. Simax says, I came here a few weeks ago as a Django developer. Sunny told me to just get into an e-app. Wow, I've learned so much already. That's what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter where you come from. We can go ahead and keep pushing. 250 likes broken already. Let's go, guys. Yesterday we broke 1,000 again. That's just insane. Okay, so guys, here we have it, Google ID, Google secret. So we need to get these values. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you is if we go ahead and hit save on this file, and the first thing you want to do is just make sure that everything is working. Okay, so you want to make sure that you haven't actually broken anything at this point, right? Now, how do we do that? Basically, you can see once we've added this environment file, I need to stop running my server and I need to run it again. And now what you should be able to see is you'll see this loaded env from env local. So this means it's loaded our environment files. So you should see that, and then you should see the JIT engine being initialized. Those are the two things I need you to look out for when you're setting this up, okay? So the next thing we're gonna do, okay, is we're gonna go ahead and actually get our credentials. Now here is where Firebase makes it extremely easy to do that, okay? So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna go over to Firebase. So I'm gonna head over to firebase.com, and we should be able to see this load up. So here you can see I'm gonna go ahead and sign in to my account. And right now I'm gonna go ahead and quickly log in to my Google account. So give me 1 second, guys. And I need you to go over to firebase.com and log in as well. All you need is a Gmail account, okay? So it's extremely easy to get started. And this is gonna be a crucial step. Remember, a Gmail account is completely free, and it's gonna be extremely easy to go ahead and get set up. Now I just need to do my two-factor. 1 second. You guys might, and I do recommend, if you have any Google account, always enable two-factor authentication, okay guys? It's always good to have that for security purposes. In this case, I'm just loading mine up right now. There we go, and there we are. Now I am inside of my account. So you should be on this screen once you're in, okay? So I'm gonna click on go to console. Nice. And then once we've got this open, I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. So I'm going to click on add a project. For this one, I'm going to say Amazon, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a name, otherwise Google might go crazy at me. I'm going to say Amazon 2, and I'm just going to say YouTube. And I'm going to click continue. I don't want to have Google Analytics, but you can if you'd like to, okay? Whoa, Singapore in the house. What's up, man? Ashutosh says, I like how consistent Sunny's hairstyle is. Thank you. I do try. Came back from the gym, quick shower, and we're going live. This is awesome stuff. Right, so once this is set up, we're gonna go ahead and get our credentials set up. Now we are gonna do two things when we do this, okay? We are gonna set up a Firebase configuration file from this Firebase panel, and then we are gonna be using that later when it comes to the Firebase portion of the build. But for now, what I need you to do is go to the little cog at the top left. Once this loads up, click it, click project settings, okay? Now once this is open, you need to go ahead and click on this little web icon over here, okay? Guys, we are so close to breaking 300 likes. Come on, we can do this together. Okay, so here I'm gonna go ahead and type in Amazon, or let's just say Amazon, Amazon to YouTube. Okay, and we're not gonna set up Firebase hosting because right now we're doing Versal for our deployments. Okay, right, let's keep going, guys. And now what we're gonna do is click continue to console. Awesome. Okay, and then I'm gonna click on config. And I'm going to copy this config right here. Okay, so this is the magic config that I need. So what I'm going to do right now is head back over to my code. I'm going to create a Firebase file. So I'm going to say Firebase.js. Okay, now remember, I am moving at a speed which is going to be easy for you guys to go ahead and follow, and actually go ahead and pause whenever you need to when you're watching this back. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is paste it in there. Right, so that's the first step. Step one of what we're doing, right? So that's the first thing we're gonna do. The next thing I want you to do is click on authentication. Okay. Now, once we have authentication tab open, click on get started. Right? Boom, we just broke 300 likes. Thank you so much, guys. Incredible support. We have 400 people watching across platforms right now. I think it's 330 on YouTube right now. Let's push that number up, guys. But we just broke 300 likes. Let's keep on moving, guys. Incredible stuff. Okay, so once we've got the sign-in method loaded, we're gonna click on Google. Okay, so I'm gonna click on Google and click enable. Now, once we've done this, you just need to go ahead and add in your email. Perfect stuff. And I'm gonna click on save. Okay, now what we're gonna do once this is done is we are gonna go ahead and click on Google, and we're gonna click on this web SDK. Oh, where'd it go? Web SDK configuration. Now I'm gonna go ahead and check something for a sec. Right, so this will give us some contents. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and make it a little bit more smaller. Okay, so this will give you some configuration. So I'm going to show you it right now, and I'm going to hide one of the portions of the config. Right, so down here right now you should be able to see all of your configuration details. Okay, so there is a secret at the bottom, and then there's a web client ID. Now I'm not going to show my secret because this is private for everyone. So you should not be showing your secret as well. But I need you to copy the ID, and I need you to copy the secret, okay? The ID doesn't matter about it. It doesn't matter too much. That can be public. So I'm going to copy this one, And what I want to do is I want to head over to my environment file. Now for the Google ID, I'm simply going to go ahead and paste it. No quotes around it, no nothing. I'm just going to paste it there, okay? Now for the Google secret, I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to go ahead and pop it in like so, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing for my secret. So I'm obviously not going to show the screen while I do that. And now I have my secret uploaded too, okay? So what I'm going to do is right now, I'm just going to do ... here so I can show you where I pasted it. But the goal is that you have your Google ID open and then you have your secret pasted over here. And I just showed you where you can find your secret, okay? So once you've got that done, guys, what you need to do is go back over to your panel and close that off, okay? So I'm just gonna hide my secret quickly. Awesome stuff, right? So now we've done that, it all looks great, and you can see it says enabled, okay? So this bit says enabled, that's great. That means it is working, we can now use it. Right? So what we need to do now is go back here. I'm going to go ahead and paste this and then close the file, right? So you guys should have your secret key there. That should be secret to you. Do not share it. Do not post that around. That's secret to you. Then I'm going to close my environment file. Okay, awesome stuff, guys. Now we have that up and running. What we need to do is, in order to load those new environment files back in, we have to stop our server and run it once more. Okay, now guys, look at the number of viewers coming up, right? It's insane that our retention is going up as we're streaming. That's just insane, right? I love that. Thank you so much, right? So again, I don't see the tailwind, so I'm going to go ahead and save tailwind. So there we go, we can get our tailwind. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my second terminal and I'm going to go ahead and say yarn add Firebase, because we're going to need Firebase for later on. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and install Firebase right now. And then at the top here, I'm going to go ahead and say import Firebase from Firebase. Okay. Now this part, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to continue the Firebase portion over here in tomorrow's build, but that's where I want you to leave the Firebase file. Okay, so we've just installed the dependency, the Firebase dependency, and now we're going to continue on. Now guys, we are crushing it. Okay, so we are absolutely crushing it. Somebody just said, do you have a course in React.js? I want to learn it. 100%, dude. Zero to full stack hero. The doors open on day 5. Sign up, the first link in the description, and then you can go ahead and kill it. Guys, we also hit 42,000 subscribers on YouTube. Boom. That's a flex. That's incredible, guys. Incredible stuff. Right. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go over to our NextAuth Authentication, and this looks pretty good, right? We have our Google secret being loaded in, we have our Google ID, everything looks the way it needs to look. Okay, so the next step in this build is we need to go ahead and actually check out let's go to our index, right? So inside of our index file. So this is where we can go ahead and have some of the magic happening. Okay, so firstly, where do we want to log in from for the user? So if we go over to our build, I want the user to be able to log in when they click on account and lists. Okay, oops, when they click on account and lists at the top, right? So when they click this, they should be able to be prompted with a sign-in page, right? And this sign-in page is provided by default by NextAuth Authentication. You can customize it, but we're not going to go over the customization today, right? But you can add as many providers as you want, and then you can just sign in. It's incredibly powerful. Honestly, you guys are going to love it. I know you will, right? Almost at 400 likes, guys. Let's keep pumping that number up, right? So we're going to go over to our header now. So component header. Okay, now once you've got the header open, I'm going to go ahead and actually import a few things from that NextAuth library that I actually pulled in. So I'm importing sign in, sign out, and use session. So this is very important stuff. Okay, these are 3 very powerful functions that we will be using inside of this header. Okay, so firstly, what I want to do is I want to click on the sign in, right? Now, how do I sign in? Okay, so firstly, like I said, we want to have it. So when we click on that, that top part where it says hello Sunny Sanga, I don't want to click on the P tag. I want to click on the overall div. So I'm going to do an on click, right? And I'm simply going to say sign in. Okay, I'm simply going to say sign in, right? And now let's go ahead and actually see if this did anything to our application. Okay, so if I click on this, hello Sunny Sanga account and lists, let's wait for it. Okay, we're not seeing anything. Oh yeah, there we go. Sign in with Google. Perfect, right? Now we've got, thank you so much, Daisy Rel. So excited for day 5 of the Amazon challenge. Thank you so much for the 11, I think it's dirhams. Thank you so much for that. Really, really appreciate the donation. Thank you. Then we're going to click sign in with Google. Now this is the interesting part here. we see redirect URI mismatch. Okay, so here is where you have to go ahead and update some configuration details in the Google sort of side of things. Okay, so they give you a URL. You want to copy this URL. Okay, copy this URL and keep this page open because we're going to need this callback function. Okay, so I'm going to copy this URL and then I'm going to go ahead and paste it into a new tab. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and sign in once again. I don't know why it doesn't, for some reason, mine is not keeping me signed in, but anyway, we'll see how it goes. Let me go ahead and sign in one more time, guys. So you guys should just follow along. I think I'm going at a very good pace today so that you guys can go ahead and sign in with me. I'm going to have to do my two-factor again. Give me one sec. Wow, we have another donation from Siddharth. Thank you so much, guys. We are about to break 400 likes. We have nearly 400 people across platforms today. This is insane. Okay, so I've just logged in. I clicked that link that we found earlier, and this is where we get to. Okay, well, okay, I've exposed something, but that's fine. So now you can see the URIs portion over here. Okay, so what you want to do here is you want to click on add URI. Now here, I want to go ahead and copy the local host example, but I'm going to go ahead and change this to 3000. Okay, John Stones, he says, I am late to the party, but I am ready to code. Hell yeah, dude. That's what the energy we kind of need right here. This is incredible, right? Cesar, this man is like a human startup, creativity and innovation. Thank you so much. And with that said, anyone who's coding right now, quick water break. Guys, hydrate yourself. Remember, don't burn out, okay? Take your time, enjoy it. And yeah, enjoy the music. All right, Papa Fam, let's go, guys. Let's jump straight back into it. Let's go. Okay. So once you're on this screen, we're going to go ahead and hit the 3000 like this, okay? Then we've got the authorized redirect URIs. So at this point, right, we're going to go ahead and where we had our build, so where we had this error, I want to copy this top URI. And this is very important, right? Because what this is doing is it's going into that API auth folder that we set up. And NextAuth is, you know, it's set up a bunch of this stuff like callback Google, going a bit crazy there. And then we're going to go back to our config inside of a Google Cloud Platform. And here on, I want to click on add URI. And I'm going to go ahead and paste it in. So this will allow Google to basically say, this is permitted as okay, right? This isn't going to freak out. This is a secure, safe thing that I'm allowing you to do. Okay. So we need to go ahead and enable that. So I've just gone ahead and added that in. Let's click save. And let's just see now we've got HTTP 3000 and we have our authorized redirect URI. So now what we do is we go back to our localhost 3000 and we check it out again. Okay. Now let's check this out. Okay. So Jay, I think you need to block a few people. All right, let's carry on. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on account and lists. Okay, guys, we're so close to breaking 400. Let's click on account and lists and then sign in with Google. Okay, so I'm going to click this and now you can see, boom, we get this. This is awesome. This is what you should be seeing right now. Okay, so what we just did is we gave Google the all clear to say you can continue on. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is sign in one more time because you know how my computer is doing today. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in again. And then I'm going to sign in again one more time. So let's quickly do a sign in. Okay, now I'm in. And once again, I have to confirm it's me. It's always good to have, you know, another layer of security. So I'd recommend that for you guys as well. Right, so now I've signed in, okay? So it just redirected me back to this page, okay? Rishabh says, Sunny, mad respect. Thank you so much, dude. Appreciate you, man, right? And Crow says, practice. I 100% agree with you, dude. It's simply practice, okay? There was once a time where my front end sucked, right? Guys, smash the thumbs up. We're literally close to 400. It's going to hype me out, right? So now we've signed in, but how do I know that I've signed in, right? In order to get that signed in state, right, we have to do a step. Okay, so the step that we need to go ahead and do is go over to, and I see comments, like this, just go ahead and kill the positivity game. Guys, if anyone spreads negativity, you don't need to let it in. It's all good, right? So screw it, right? People get jealous when you're going good, so don't worry about it, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to index.js, okay? Now over in index.js, no, sorry, not index, we're going to go to _app. Next.js, okay? So here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and actually introduce something which will allow us to access that authentication state across pages inside of our application. Okay, so in order to do that, what I need to do is I first need to import a special dependency. So I need to import provider, but we've already got something as provider. So I need to import, change the name as auth provider. Okay, so here you can see it says import provider as auth provider from NextAuth /client. Okay, then what I want to do is I want to copy our auth provider, and I'm simply going to go ahead and paste it. Okay, now I need to go ahead and wrap the rest of this stuff inside. Okay, so I need to go ahead and push it above it like so. Now there is an attribute that we need to go ahead and include here. So I need to say the session is equal to page props dot session. Okay, now what we just did here, guys, is we gave our entire application access to NextAuth, the authentication state. Okay, so we said basically now that that authentication state can be used throughout this, throughout this Next.js build. Okay, so and as you can see, this is called a higher order component because it's in a higher order than the children below it. Okay, so now we've basically power upped our app. So we got Cameroon and Indonesia in the house. Daniel, Amar Dev, what's up, guys? Right, so now I'm going to go into index.js. Now I want to test something, right? I want to see if this is working, and if I'm not, I'm not talking crap, basically, right? Let's go to our header, and then what I'm going to do is, you remember this use session, right? So inside of header, what we can actually do to check if we are signed in now is we can go ahead and pull in our use session hook, right? And the way we do it is we say const session, and this, bear in mind, this is in brackets because we get two things. We get the session and loading. We don't actually care about the loading state for now. We're going to say equals use session. Okay, and we've already imported it. This session will include a few things. So if I type in session dot, right, what this will include right here is two things: a user, and the user will have an email, image, and name. Okay, so we can use this information now to go ahead and actually get everything up and running and working the way we need to, right? So guys, we just broke 400 likes. Amazing stuff. Let's kill it, guys. Absolutely incredible stuff. So session.user. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and test if this is actually working. So I want to basically modify this now. So rather than just saying hello Sunny all the time, right, I want to say, if I'm not logged in, I want it to say sign in. And if I am logged in, I want it to say hello and then my name of whoever is signed in. Okay, so let's go ahead and kill this. So what I'm going to do now is go over to that header, right? So where it says hello Sunny Sanga, what I'm actually going to say is I'm going to change this entire line. So I'm going to remove this line, do a new line, and I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to do an optional here. I'm going to say, if there is a session, then what I want to do is I'm going to do backticks so I can do some string interpolation. I'm going to say hello, and then we can include a JavaScript variable. And then here I'm going to say session.user.name. I love this song. It's such a jam when you're coding, right? So we're going to say hello session name. Otherwise, I'm going to say sign in. Okay, and then hit save. So now if I go back, I am actually signed in. So we should see on a refresh, it should say hello Sunny Sanga. Okay, now how do I check if there is how can I sign out now? Okay, so if I want to sign out, right, so we want to test all of this in action now, what I can do is on the on click, I can actually include something here. I can say, okay, if there is no session, then I want to sign in. Otherwise, I want to do the opposite. I want to sign out. Okay, so on the click, if there is no session, sign in. Otherwise, sign out. Okay, hit save on that. Now, if we go back, guys, check this out. Okay, I'm going to refresh my page, and at the top right now, you can see it says hello Sunny Sanga. If I click it, boom, it just signed me out. Okay, if I click sign in once more, it's taking me to the sign in page. If I click sign in, now I can choose to sign in. And then if I go ahead and sign in, now it says hello Sunny Sanga. Now guys, that is literally as simple as it is, right? If you want to access the session state, you use the use session hook. And guys, if you want to use it on the server side render, which I'm going to show you in just a sec, then we use it get session. I'm going to show you how to do all that. But guys, that was easy, right? That's literally so easy. Smash the thumbs up button if you thought that was easy. Blue Octopus says that's slick, right? Okoye says nice. Right, this is what I'm talking about. This is incredibly simple to implement, and that's why I've gone ahead and implemented it and showing you how to do it. Okay, now quick water break, and let's carry on. And guys, you can add as many authentication providers as you want into that, and it will literally work. It's incredibly powerful, right? Oh, this is a jam. Right, let's carry on, guys. So now we have our authenticated state. Now I do want to show something cool to you, okay? So let's say I want to have, multiple authentication providers, and this is actually a challenge extension that you can do, okay? So if you watched the Facebook build, I showed you how to do the Facebook portion of the login with NextAuth. But what is so easy here, guys, is if I go back to my NextAuth authentication and I simply copy and paste it. Imagine this, I say it changes to Facebook, for example, and I click save. Right then, now when I click sign in, you see how it just pops up as another option, right? So imagine I had Facebook here, Facebook, and I provided some credentials. I'm not sure if it will work unless I provide actual credentials, but let's test it out anyway. I'm going to click on sign in, and you can see, look, sign in with Google, sign in with Facebook. All you have to do is go ahead and provide the correct credentials. It does the rest, and then the variables are available in session.user and so forth. Now that is so powerful. I don't care. That is so easy to use, and it is just, it's so nice, guys. Okay, so that's incredible stuff, and I really am a fan of NextAuth authentication after doing this stuff, because you can see for yourself how much it enhances your build. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and implement the basket page. Okay, so we're actually firstly going to have, add to basket functionality. And so firstly, well done, guys. We just finished authentication. So boom, it's not even 45 minutes, and we just ran through that, right? We killed that so quick. So this is, we're going to keep on going at that speed, right? And it feels like we're not rushing either, right? So now if we click on the basket, the goal is to have the checkout page come available. So the first mission here is, let's break it down. I want to click this and be redirected to a checkout page. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve that one first. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and to add a page, I'm going to close the API, but index.js is where we have our home page. So if I want to add a checkout page, I simply add a page called CheckoutProduct.js. Okay, and now notice how it's lowercase checkout, because this will literally correlate to the / link. It'll say / checkout. Okay, and that's what we're basically going to go ahead and build. So now I can use my snippets. I can say _RFCE, and then you can see the checkout. And I want to go ahead and keep the naming convention here. So in the file, I can have the normal capital C for the the sort of component. Guys, we are nearly at 500 likes. That's insane. Let's keep on pushing. 500 likes. That's insane. Okay. Now I'm going to click on checkout.js. And now inside of checkout, we've got some work to do, right? So now we're going to get back to hustling, building some of our stuff. So firstly, let's go ahead and test if this works. I'm just going to say H1, I am the checkout page. Okay, hit save. Now guys, my goal is to make it extremely easy for you guys to learn how to code. So let me know if I'm doing a good job with that, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click this. And now I'm going to go to / checkout and see if this is working. Okay, nice. We can see that I am the checkout page, right? This is looking great. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and click back. Nice, looking perfect, right? So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to start pulling in some of the components that we've already built. Okay, so to make this very simple, what I'm actually going to do is, remember, we are using Tailwind, so I'm going to make the background gray. So I'm going to say BG gray 100. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import the header, right? And this is the beauty of doing component-based design. So here we're going to say import header from components header. And then as soon as I hit save, look, let's go back to that checkout page. So / checkout. And look at this. It's already starting to look a bit more like a page. And this is fully functional, right? So I want to go ahead and actually implement some kind of routing now. Okay. So I'm going to go back to this, and I'm just want to say H1 just to make it super clear. I'm going to say checkout page, right? Just so we can very clearly see that this is the checkout page. Now I want to have it when I click Amazon, it takes me to the home page. When I click basket, it takes me to the checkout page. So let's handle routing. Okay. So I keep going to that one. All right. So in order to do routing here, I'm going to click into my header. Okay. And now when I click on the image inside of the header, I want to be able to basically route and push me to the home page. Okay. So in Next.js, we have a built-in router. This allows us to redirect the user to whatever page we want to do it to, right? And it allows us to do it in a very efficient way. Okay. Now let's go. Blue Octopus Coding says, you are doing very good. You are the best mentor I've ever learned from. I appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much. And guys, we're about to break 500, so that shows me something, right? Matthew says, liking the background music, very energetic. Thank you so much, man. Right, so we're going to go ahead and import use router from next / router. I'm going to go ahead and grab that. Then on the image, I'm going to say on click. This is the Amazon image. I'm going to say on click, and I'm going to do an inline function. Okay. Then I'm going to say router dot push. So think of the root. Oh no, that should be lowercase. Oh, oopsie. Actually, so before this step, I need to actually get my router object. Okay. So get rid of this one. That's wrong. I need to go down here and I need to say const router equals use router because it's a hook. Okay. This will give me the router object. Now I can use it. So I'm going to say on click, and I'm going to say an anonymous inline function. And then here I'm going to say router dot push. Okay. Now think of your website as different pages being stacked on each other, right? This means that when you go ahead and say to a user that you're going to get redirected to the page over there, when they click the back icon, it's going to take them back to the page. So think of like pages being stacked up on each other, right? So you literally are pushing pages on top of each other. So that way, whenever the user clicks back or forward, like if they go ahead and go to a new page, it stacks the page on. If they click back, it just removes that page and they're back at the previous page. That's how it works, right? This is how it's pretty much a stack, right? So here I'm going to say router.push, and I'm going to say / to make it the home page. Okay. This is looking nice. Now you can use the link component, but in this case, I want to programmatically do it on the image. The link component is great for some text. Okay. So Bishao and a few others are saying, why don't you use next link? You can do that, but this is how you programmatically do it. Right. So this is a very nice way of also knowing how to do it. You can use either or, really doesn't matter. Right. In this case, I want to attach it to the image object. Okay. It's not confusing. That's extremely simple. Okay. So let's go ahead and click on the Amazon link now, and boom, takes me to the homepage. It's simple as that. On click routes me to the homepage, right? Routing.push homepage. Simple as that. Okay. And I want to do it the other way as well. When I click on the basket, I want it to take me to, you guessed it, the checkout page. So I go down now to my checkout, which is this div, because we've got the shopping cart icon. And I want the entire div to be a clickable. So I'm going to say on click of the entire div. Here I'm going to go ahead and say, again, inline function. And I'm going to say router.push. Oops, router.push. And I'm going to say checkout / checkout. Okay, let's test this out, guys. Okay. So let's go ahead and do this right now. Hit save. And then now what we can see is we're going to go ahead and click on basket. Ah, there we go. Click on Amazon. Hey, there we go, guys. We got page routing, and we didn't have to install React Router or anything like that. Next.js already has a router inbuilt. Okay, so beautiful stuff. If you just learned something new, smash the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. Guys, by the way, there are 65 or 70% of you watching right now who are not subscribed. Like, please, like, what are you doing? If you're enjoying the content, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, right? It helps the channel grow. It helps this value get out to as many people as possible. Let's do this, guys. We are proper fam material. Coty Perry says, are you British? Yeah, I'm British, mate. Full to the bone British, okay? So now we have the checkout page and we have our routing complete. Perfect stuff, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and actually build out some of the checkout page before we start on the Redux portion of the build, okay? So you will be learning Redux today as well, guys, right? So a lot of fun stuff to be learning. Okay, so for the checkout portion of the build, right, what we're going to do is I'm going to actually go ahead and have this next to it right here. So I'm going to go ahead and include my local host over here so you guys can see it as I build it. Awesome stuff. Look at this. Perfect. Okay, so now what I'm going to have is inside of our checkout page, I'm going to go to my checkout page. And if you don't know that trick, it's Command P, and then you can go ahead and access your files. So that's a very handy trick, right, that you can go ahead and do. And before we start the checkout page, quick hydration and smash that thumbs up button. Awesome stuff. Ricardo says, I don't know if he's saying simple. Okay. Ricardo says, Brazil. Oh, nice. What's up, man? Okay, let's carry on, guys. Right. So we have the checkout page. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and introduce a main tag. Okay. So a main tag like so. Okay. Ben Carter, what's up, man? Good to see you here. I see you killing it in the challenge. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce a main tag. Now, as you notice, across the Amazon pages, we have the main, the max width. So this is going to carry on as we proceed through our builds. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and say main on the class name. And I'm going to say when we hit the large screen, right? So I want it to be a flex box firstly on the large screen. And then I'm going to say max width screen to XL. Okay, so I'm going to apply that same max width. And again, remember to center it, we say MX auto. Okay, and now you can see, where is it gone? Oh yeah, I don't actually have that H1 anymore, so that's fine. So if I type in H1 hello, so you can see now my hello it kind of, you see how it gets cut off there, right? So that's very good. Whereas before it was going ahead and getting pushed over there. So you see now it has a max width applied to it. Okay, so that's awesome. That's looking great. The next thing I'm going to do is we are going to have a left and a right portion on this page. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that, what I mean by that. Okay, so here you can see on this page, this is the official Amazon page on sunnysanga.com, right? So not the official, but you know, the clone version. So we have the left hand side of the page. So this is my left hand side. And then we have the right hand side of the page. So these are going to be two separate divs, right? So, and notice how I said on the large screen, we have flex. And this is because on the large screen, I want it to be in a row. So I want it to be like this, okay? But on a small screen, I want it to actually be stacked like this. So that way on a phone, it would be a lot easier to navigate, okay? Now you can feel free to put subtitle at the top. That's completely fine. You can, you know, go ahead and customize to your heart's content. But I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do this, okay? So Tailwind, yes, I love the fact you guys are falling in love with Tailwind. This is incredible. Guys, we're about to break 500 likes. Again, smash that thumbs up. This is awesome. Let's carry on. Okay. So I'll go ahead and comment in two things. I'm going to say the left-hand section and I'm going to say the right section, okay? This is so fun, guys. I'm loving this, right? So now what I'm going to say is I'm going to go ahead and say for the left side, we're going to have a div. Right, so I, you know, always containerize your stuff. Even on the right hand side, we'll have a div. Okay, so for the left hand side, inside of our div, first thing I'm gonna do is have an image tag. This is gonna be no normal image tag. It's gonna be the one from next image, right? Then I'm gonna go ahead and have the source. Now this is gonna represent the advert. This is gonna be a nice little, you know, Amazon advert that pops up. So this is gonna be the following sort of attributes are gonna apply here. So I'm gonna go ahead and paste in these attributes. So you've got the source, which says links papareact.com IKJ, width 1020, height 250. Okay. The final thing I want to do is keep the aspect ratio. So I'm going to say object fit contain. Right. And that's just a nice little hack that you can do to keep your aspect ratio solid. Right. Now you can see if we go ahead and resize, looks great. And you see how it doesn't max out, still sticks to my left hand side of the screen. That's what I want. Okay. Ooh, this is a jam. This always gets me like kind of pumped up when we're coding. Okay, the next section is going to be for the shopping basket. So you can see whenever you're starting to build this stuff, always think of containers. So this is a div, right? It very clearly is some kind of container here, okay? Because it has like a background around it. So I'm going to go ahead and say div, okay? So inside of this one, I'm going to say div. Okay, awesome. Nice. And then inside of here, I'm going to have a H1 tag, right? So I'm going to have an H1 tag. And here what you can see is it says shopping basket. Otherwise, if the basket is empty, it will say your Amazon basket is empty. Okay. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and say your shopping basket. And then once we implement the Redux portion, I will go ahead and show you how to do that. Okay. So this is looking pretty good at the moment. For the div that is surrounding, we're going to go ahead and apply a few things. I want this div to take up the majority of the space. So this left div, I want it to take up the majority of space. I'm going to say flex grow. And then I'm going to say a margin of 5. And I want to give it a shadow of small. Okay. So you can see right now, it's just very kind of like a little bit hard to see at the moment, but you can see a very subtle shadow has been applied to that div. Okay, looking pretty good. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and where we have the shopping basket, that div, I'm going to apply a few classes to that one. I'm going to say that's a flex container. Oops, flex container. This is a flex column. Okay. Padding of 5 should be applied. And here I want to do a space between all the Y components of 10 with a background of white. Okay. And as you can see now, we've got the padding being applied. And then we will see once the sort of children components are inside of there, they're going to have a spacing between them of 10. Okay. So it's going to go ahead and help us out. Okay. Whoa, we got Tony. He goes, I'm from France, Paris. What's up, dude? Welcome to the stream. Right, we have a H1 tag here. I'm going to go ahead and say class name. And then here I'm going to say, let's make this it's a little bit too small right now. Okay, so I'm going to do text 3XL, hit save, and you can see immediately that jumps up in size. I want to do a border on the bottom, and I'm going to give that a width of 1, so it's pretty much by itself. And then I say padding bottom of 4, okay? And there we go. Look at that, it's starting to look clean, right? You see how quick it can come together, right? So this is looking great at the moment, okay? Nice, this is looking really, really good at the moment. Okay, so keep up with me, guys. We're gonna move a little bit quick here. I think we're moving at a very good pace right now, right? So now what we have is the next portion where we have the items underneath. Now we don't have any items underneath, right? So what I need to now solve is the Redux portion of the build. So the Redux portion of the build is where we need to go ahead and basically have the ability. So when we click add product to basket, it's going to store the item in some kind of global store that the app can then reference and pull information from, right? So think of Redux as a global store around our application. Now I'm going to go ahead and I love to just, draw this out for you guys. So always kind of helps you out, I think, with a visual representation of what I'm talking about. So think of Redux as this right here. Okay, so I don't think I can actually, oh no, I need to actually activate a quick feature. Okay, never mind, that's fine. So think of Redux, guys, as a global store. Okay, so if we ever need a variable that we need access to throughout our application, we don't always want to prop drill, and prop drilling occurs when we have a variable at a higher sort of component, and then say we need that variable at a component which is used way down the tree, right? We have to kind of pass it through as a prop to every level. That's not efficient, right? We don't want to do that, and that's going to cause a problem called prop drilling. So instead what we do is we introduce something called the Redux store, or you can use Recoil or whatever you want. But Redux is something which is mostly known in the commercial and production environments. So I'm going to teach you that today. Now, I've already done a lot of the legwork and set this up for you. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to have a basket slice, right? So that global store called Redux, right, which basically has all of this information inside of it, we're going to push some information into a part of that. And the part of that is going to be called the basket slice, okay? And basically, let's go ahead and show you how to do that. So inside of our code, I'm going to give you a run through of how I've set this up. So where we have the pages right here, right? So let's go ahead and check this out. So we have slices, right? So I've already set this up for you. If you click on app store, this is where you can see I've set up your Redux store. Okay, so here we basically have that global store. So this essentially is the global store setup, okay? And inside of our global store, so this is inside of the reducer, we have one slice. So think of an onion. Onions have multiple slices inside of it. So you could have, like you could have user slice, a basket slice, and all of these slices contain information which is relevant to that slice. For example, items in the basket belongs, you guessed it, in the basket slice, okay? So let's go ahead and do that right now. So inside of the basket slice, which I've already set up for you, you just need to click into slice, basket slice, and now you can check this one out. And we're using the Redux toolkit today, which is incredibly simple to use. Here is the initial state of that basket slice. So the basket slice has a global items variable, okay? And this is how we basically create the slice. So we create a slice, and then we name it. So in this case, we're naming it basket. Okay, so we're naming it basket. And then we pass in the initial state as an argument. Okay, this basically gives the slice its initial set of variables. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is provide something called actions. Now, we can't just simply go ahead and say change a variable in the global store or change a variable in that slice. We have to do something called dispatching an action. So let's say I want to go ahead and add an item to a basket. I can't just go ahead and just push an item into a basket. I have to create an action. In this case, it's going to be add to basket. And that will contain as an argument, it will have the object inside of it. So the item inside of it. So I will do add to basket with the item, and then I will dispatch that action. And then the global store, for example, that basket slice, will then pick up that action, and then we can do something with it. So I'm going to show you how we can do that very simply, okay? So here we have two actions. So this is where our actions exist, okay? So these are our actions. We've got the add to basket and remove from basket. And here you can see we export them as basket slice actions, so that way we can use them throughout the rest of the application, okay? So here you can see we've got our two actions set up, and these come with two things, a state and the action itself. Now the action itself actually has something called a payload inside of it. So when you want to go ahead and push an item inside, it will be inside the action.payload. But we're going to explain all this in a second. The final step is when we have this global store, how do I then pull a piece of information from it, right? So we have this amazingly useful basket slice now, but I want to go ahead and actually fetch those items from the basket. So we use something called a selector. A selector means that we can go ahead and, you know, create a very useful little function, and then we can go ahead and call it whenever we need to grab that information, and it should just go ahead inside that slice, fetch it down, and then we can use it. Okay, so extremely simple to use once we go ahead and do it. Now we just broke 500 likes. That is insane. Thank you so much. Let's push for 600. Now let's go, guys. Remember, don't quit when it gets tough, right? Now you might find Redux a little bit tricky in the beginning, but trust me, make it your best friend, because this is where you will stand out against the junior developers, right? So here is the selectors, and the syntax is simply select and then whatever we want to go ahead and pull. So in this case, select items, access is the state, which is the global state, goes into state, goes into the basket slice, which is basically named here. And then we're going to get the items variable, which is this one here. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to do all this. This is the setup, and already I've done all of this for you. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save here. Bishao, you can feel free to ask all those questions in Facebook. Okay. So now we have the select items. This looks great. So what I'm going to do now is go over to my homepage, right? So we're going to go over to the product feed, because this is where we're going to go ahead and implement some of those features. So we're going to go inside of our product, and where we have our product, thank you so much, Mohammed. He went ahead and dropped a donation saying, please do some Flutter projects. We'll see. I'm kind of moving on the React Native stuff very soon, so we're going to maybe see about that one. But yeah. Let's carry on, guys. So right now, where we have the add to basket button, right now we have no on click, right? Nothing is special is happening when we are using this right now. But what we want to have is when we click it, I want to add something to the basket. Okay. So how do I get that working in the way that we need to, right? So it's actually pretty simple, to be honest. Okay. What we can do here is we can go ahead and actually, firstly, I'm going to make a inline function here. So I'm going to go ahead and say on click. I want to go ahead and trigger a local function, which I'm going to write in a second, and call it add item to basket. So I need to actually make this function. So I'm going to go up to the top of my code above the return, and I'm going to say const add to item to basket. And then we're just going to do a little arrow function. Okay. So here is a function that gets triggered whenever I click the add item to basket. Okay. Now inside of add item to basket, what do I want to do? Remember, I said, if you want to go ahead and push an item to that global store, we have to dispatch an action, right? So we're dispatching the add to basket action, right? So I'm going to show you how we do it. So the first thing we need is the special dispatch. Think of it as a gun that you shoot into that global store, right? That's how I like to think of it. So in this case, we've got const, and I'm going to say dispatch equals use dispatch. It's a very handy little hook provided by React Redux, the little toolkit. Okay, so we're going to do use dispatch. This gives us a special gun that we can go ahead and shoot actions into Redux. Okay, so we've got this dispatch now. The second thing I need to do is import the action add to basket. So I'm going to click on add to basket over here, and then we can go ahead and check that out. Now, what I'm going to do is I would love to show you the Redux toolkit, the Redux sort of dev tools. If you're using Chrome, install something called Redux Dev Tools. I'm not going to open it now because it kills my RAM whenever I'm using, whenever I'm live, but use something called Redux Dev Tools. Open the inspector, and then when you click add to basket, see where it's actually going ahead and showing you all the sort of, actions that are being dispatched. It's incredibly useful. I promise you, very, very handy stuff. Okay, guys, we are almost at 600 likes. Holy crap. Let's keep going. So we've got add to basket here. I'm going to copy that. Now, when I click add item to basket, remember this function gets triggered off. So I'm going to go into this code right here. And this is where I want to push the item into the store. Okay. So what I'm going to do is let's think about the product. The product that comes through with these props. So essentially these props are the product that we're going to add to the basket. Okay. So this is the product right here. So it's an object which has all of these props inside of it. Okay. So this is our product, right? This is the product that we're going to add to the basket. Then what I'm going to say is dispatch. So dispatch, and then I'm going to go ahead and say add to basket. So I'm dispatching an action, and the payload of that action, remember I said you can pass in a remember, you can pass in an argument, anything you want, right, inside of this action. So I'm going to pass in the product, right? So here what we're doing is we're basically sending the product as an action to the Redux store, right? And basically the basket slice, right? That's exactly what we're doing right now. So we're dispatching an action into the Redux store and we're passing the product inside of it, okay? So that's how we do that. Now, okay, we've shot an action up, right? We've shot an action up, and then how do we go ahead and actually do something with that action? Okay, so now the next step is we go into our basket slice, and then here, once we're inside of the basket slice, let me go ahead and grab my basket slice. What we can do here is we can open up our add to basket, and all we need to do is the state.items. Right. So here what I'm doing is I'm manipulating the items in the global store, and this uses something called immutable.js under the hood. So don't worry if you ever think, you shouldn't change a variable like that. It's actually doing something very clever under the hood. Okay. So we're going to do state.items and we're going to say equals. Pay attention here, guys. We're going to pass in, remember the data structure is currently an array. So I'm going to pass in an array. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to keep whatever is currently in there, right? So what we do is we say spread whatever the current items are. So this is basically going to ensure that we don't lose whatever. We're basically just, we're copying the current store, right? This is exactly the same as what we typically do, right? This is exactly the same as the way that we currently do it. Now, guys, we are currently almost at 600 likes. Let's keep pushing. I love you guys. I appreciate everyone. So this is how we go ahead and do it, right? I'm going to hit a comma, and then I'm going to say the item that we're going to add is the action payload. So you see how it comes through here? And the payload actually contains that product that we passed in. So what I'm going to do to make it extremely simple is here, right? So this is my product over here, okay? So you can see this is where I dispatch the product. And then Redux picks up on that. And then it basically goes through to here. And this product is available over here, action.payload. So this product is being passed through as the payload, right? So I hope that makes sense, right? So what we're doing now is we're going to go ahead. The internet is back, I think. We're good. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And now this is actually adding the item to the basket. But how can we prove that? Right? How can we actually go ahead and prove that it is currently inside the basket, right? The way that we can do this is we can go ahead and close our basket slice, go into our header. And remember, guys, I want to go ahead and pull our items from the basket now. So I've already got this, whole process of when we've gone ahead and pushed it into the Redux store. Thank you, Siddharth. He goes, best explanation ever. I appreciate you, dude. So inside the header, oh, we have the Papa Fam going. That's good. All right, so inside of the header now, I'm going to pull the items from the global store. So I'm going to say const items equals. And remember, I told you about the concept called a selector. A selector is where we can go ahead and grab some information from that global store, in particular, the basket slice of the global store. So I'm going to go ahead and grab it. And I'm going to say use selector, which is a very handy hook that they give us. Right? And then all I need to say is the selector that I'm after. So in this case, the selector was called select items, right? And then you see how I imported it from our basket slice. Okay. So now if I hit save, this is the items in the basket. So here's where the genius part comes in, guys. I can go down to where we have the hard-coded 0. So right now we have a hard-coded 0 inside the basket. And I can go ahead and say, okay, I want this to be items dot length, right? So items dot length. And now what this will do, guys, is it will go ahead and give me the length of the number of items in the basket. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit save. Now somebody says, why not simply do items dot push? Because you should always do an immutable update to an object, right? You shouldn't ever kind of change the current object. So this is the sort of standard of how you should manipulate variables. It's just something to know and practice, and there are reasons for it, but I'm not going to get too far into it. Okay, so guys, I'm going to have a quick hydration session, and then we're going to carry on, and I'm going to show you how all of this tied together in one go. Okay, guys, and if it works, smash that thumbs up button and let's push this number over 600. Let's go. Okay, So right now, we've just gone ahead and implemented all of the moving parts. So if we've done this correctly, guys, and when I click on add to basket, it should dispatch an add to basket action, which will then go ahead and push an item into the store, which we are basically selecting over here. And then we should go ahead and say items.length, which would change this number to a 1. Boom, there we go, guys. It worked, right? And if I go ahead and keep on adding stuff, look at that, guys. It is literally adding it to the basket. Incredible stuff. That is working. Everything is just as we needed it, okay? So what we can do now to go ahead and ensure that this is not fake, that this is actually what he's not lying when he's doing this, is I can go ahead and actually, start rendering this out on the page, okay? So what I can do is, and typically what I would say is console log it, right? And then that's going to help you out. Redux is so easy explained that way. Thank you so much, JM Ninja. I hope to God that explanation helped you out, because I know when I was learning Redux, I just needed someone to say it like that, right? I needed someone to explain it that way. And I wish I had that, because it would have made life so much more simpler, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my basket. And this is where I want to render out the basket content. So you can see we have 6 items over here. And the beautiful thing about Next.js is it does something called fast refresh, which means we don't lose our state, which makes it extremely easy to code and not lose our state. Okay, so here I'm going to go into my checkout page. And then we can go ahead and say, it works, JM Ninja. Nice stuff. Good job, dude. So at the bottom over here, underneath the shopping basket, I'm going to go ahead and render out the items, okay? So where we have the checkout, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull in the item. So remember, if I want to do a select from the Redux store, we say const items. So I'm going to say const items equals use selector. Oops, use selector. There we go. Select items. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we have our items. And then what I'm going to do is underneath. So right now, this is where we have the shopping basket. But I want to do another little upgrade here, right? I want to basically, if I don't have items in the basket, I want to not say your shopping basket, but I want to say your basket is empty. Okay, so here what I can say is items.length, right? If it is equal to 0, then I want to say your Amazon basket is empty. Okay, otherwise, right, I want to say shopping basket. And if I hit save on this, then we can see it says shopping basket, right? But if I go ahead and refresh, because it's non-persistent, it's going to say now we have no items in our Redux basket. Your Amazon basket is empty. Okay, so if I go ahead and add a few items to the basket, if we've added 3 items, click my shopping basket, and now it says shopping basket. Great stuff, right? This is looking good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and map through everything. So we're going to go outside of our H1, go into a new line outside the H1, and then I want to say JSX items.map. Okay, now for every single, what have I done here? Items.map. For every single item, right? And what we can actually do is put in parentheses and also get the index. And this basically is that the count. So it'll be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as we go ahead and pull it through. I'm going to go ahead and do a return. So parentheses. And then I'm going to render out a checkout product item. Now the checkout product item is basically going to be this item right here. So each of these different things is going to be called something like a checkout. It's going to be the checkout product component. Okay. Whoa, just saying, what's up, man? He goes, copies on me, bro. This looks like an amazing build. Shout out to Dash and his beautiful build at the start. So much talent in this community. That's incredible, dude. Thank you so much, Jasteg. Absolutely killing it. Just pushed over 100K in his career. Incredible stuff. And he's part of the Papa fam, and he's part of Zero to Full Stack Hero. Incredible guy. Okay, guys, let's carry on. Wow, I'm getting thirsty. This is a lot of energy today. Okay, let's go, guys. Almost at 600 likes. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and render out the checkout product. So I'm gonna type in checkout product. Now, obviously we don't have this built, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and say checkout product. So I'm going to go into my components, create a component called CheckoutProduct.js. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to do underscore RFCE, and this is going to represent a checkout product. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say, where is it going? Checkout product. There we go. Checkout product, like so. Nice. So here, what I want to do is I'm going to accept a few props. So checkout product accept some kind of props, right? So here what we should be able to do is destructure, and then the props that it is going to accept are the following props. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this in. So these are the props that I want to accept: ID, title, price, rating, description, category, image, and has prime, right? So let's check this out. So now I'm going to go ahead and say checkout.js. Now here what I do is I simply map through our products in the checkout page, and item has all of that information inside of it, right? So inside of checkout.js, what I can do now is, firstly, I can remember whenever you're mapping through an item array or anything like that, when you're mapping through something in React, always include a unique key. Now, if you don't have a unique key, you can use the index, but it's not the best thing to use. But worst case, you can do it, okay? But I'm not gonna say you shouldn't do it in every build, but this time we'll do it for this one, right? But what we can say is key, and then I'm gonna go ahead and say I, and then afterwards, let's go ahead and pull in the rest of the props. So in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and say the rest of the props are gonna be ID equals item.id, title equals item.title. And you can go ahead and destructure it here if you want to, so you don't have to say item dot, but this looks a little bit clean. Okay, so that's awesome. We're pulling through the products, and then I'm going to go ahead and import checkout product. Okay, so firstly, I'm going to go up to the top of my code, and I'm going to simply go ahead and I'll copy this line, and I'll go ahead and rename this to become checkout product. Okay, so now we have our checkout product variable. All right, so if I go through to the checkout product now, what we should be able to see, if I go ahead and open out checkout product, now what we should be able to see is all of our stuff being pulled through. So all we need to do now is build out the checkout product, okay? So the checkout product is going to consist of a few things. We've got the left side, the middle, and the right side, okay? So what I've actually decided to do here is do a grid system. And this is, believe it or not, this is 5 grid, like it's the column, these are 5 columns here, right? So it looks like 3 columns that you might have, right? You have like the 1, the 2, and then you have the 3. Okay, so you have the sort of, you know, 1 column here, and then you have a second column, which means you have 1, 2, 3. But in fact, what this is really is 5 columns, and the middle one takes up 3. Right, that's what I've decided to do here. Okay, so what we're actually going to do is, skier. Yes, that's a very good idea. You can do that. Made me have a little bit of a tongue twister there. Guys, we're almost at 600 likes. Let's go. Okay, so let's go ahead and carry on. What we're going to do now is inside of this, we're going to firstly have the image, right? But I'm going to, like I said, it's going to have a grid system. So we're going to say grid, and then it's going to say grid columns 5. Okay, grid columns 5. And then we're going to have an image tag. This is going to be a Next.js image tag. So I'm going to go ahead and say image tag, pull it in from our image like so. Okay, and then here I'll say the source is the image prop that came through, and then we have the height and width. Now the height we're going to set to 200, the width we're going to set to 200. Let's go ahead and say 200, and then we're going to do our object fit contain because we like to keep our aspect ratios. We don't ever want anything stretched. Nice, you can see some products, right? This is looking good, right? This is looking very nice already, right? So now what we're going to do is, you can see the reason why it's chucked over here is because it's columns of 5. So it's assumed that this is in the first column, right? So now what I'm going to do is build out the middle section, okay? The middle section is this section over here. And I want this section to span across the 3 of 5 columns. So this is going to be the middle section. And here I want to have a div, right? Which basically has a span of 3. So it's going to span across 3 of the 5 available columns. So I'm going to say column span of 3. And on the left and right, I want a margin of 5. So as you can see, it's pushed away from this and it's pushed away from this. So that's with MX5, okay? Now here I'm going to pop in a P and title. Now look how beautiful everything starts to pop in. So look at that, the title pops in. All right, so we've got our title here. And then I'm going to have the stars. Now remember, we did a nice little trick yesterday with the stars. So I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to go ahead and say array. And then I'm going to say rating. So we pass in the array rating. And this is to go ahead and remember this little trick that we did yesterday. And then what we do is we say array.fill.map. And then remember, we don't care about the value, but we do care about the index. And I'm going to map through these values and return the star icon. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop in the star icon here. Okay, and this we should be around parentheses. And the star icon, I'm going to go ahead and pull in from React. from the hero icons. Okay, so here what we've just done is we should now be able to see the relevant star icon from the basket. So this has a 5-star rating. So if I pull this in, we should be able to see a 5-star rating, which means that our styling here isn't correct. Okay, so we need to go to our div and say class name flex. And now, once we've gone ahead and configured everything correctly, then we should be able to see it all popping in as and when it's needed. Okay, but for now, we see a height of 5, yellow text. There we go. Okay, so this is looking okay at the moment. We'll fix this in just a sec. And yeah, so we have our div there. And then after this, we're going to have a p tag. And the p tag is going to have the description inside of it. 600 likes. Let's go, guys. 600 likes. And we still have incredible retention. You guys are killing it. Keep it up. I can't believe you guys are actually, like, the way you are committing to this build is incredible. This is what the Papa Fam is about. I love this. And this is what it's about, guys. Thank you so much. Right? So after, we're going to go ahead and pop in the description. Okay. Now the description comes in like so. Now, obviously this looks a bit messy. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and style this a little bit. I'm going to say the class name here should be, let's go ahead and say it should be extra small text, right? Because we don't need to spam out that section. Margin top of 2, because it's too close to the top star, right? Oops. Let's go ahead and do it inside of here. That'll help us out. Margin top of 2. Margin bottom of 2, which means that we can just do our little, you know, rather than saying this, we can go ahead and say margin Y of 2, and that'll do the same effect. And then we're going to say line clamp of 2. Okay, actually we'll give it 3 in this case, right? So now it should clamp it after 3 lines. So that's starting to look pretty good, right? So I'm starting to like the look of this. And I do want to check one thing quickly. I just want to go ahead and grab this over here and just double check that I've entered this in correctly. Okay, we're good. Yep. Nice. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and where do we have our description? Awesome. And then we have our currency. So the next thing I need is the currency package. Okay, so currency is, remember, we used it yesterday for, it's called React Currency Formatter. And this is how we represent images on the screen. Okay, Max says, brother Sunny, I'm working on day 2, almost finished. Awesome. Greetings from Bali, Indonesia. Amazing stuff. I was actually going to move to Bali at one point, so that's awesome, dude. And great to see you there. Forhad says, your live streaming video skills is awesome. Thank you so much, dude. So we've got the currency here, right? Now for the currency, I'm going to say the quantity is the price of the prop that we passed in. So here I'm going to say quantity, and this is going to be the price. And then what I want to do is say the currency is actually going to be GBP, because you can change it up if you want, but I'm going to be using GBP. There we go. The price is now coming in. Awesome. Looks great. All right. This is looking very nice so far. And then we want to go ahead and just check on. Okay, great. Looking good. Okay. So then the final thing that I want to do is we've got the currency here. And I'm going to go ahead and do the prime. Okay, so we're going to say, we're going to have a little bit of JSX and say if it has prime. So if this person, or no, sorry, if that item has prime delivery, then I'm going to go ahead and return a div. And this div will have the class of the following. It's going to say a flex with the items in the center. And I want to have space between the X components of 2. Okay, then this div is going to go ahead and say, and guys, if you haven't already, remember, sign up to the final day, right? If you're enjoying all of this stuff, to get a chance of getting any kind of prize, sign up to the last day. Remember, every single person who turns up is going to get something. So I cannot wait to show you. Sign up. First link in the description. Let's carry on. So we've got the div here. I'm going to pop in an image tag, and this image tag is going to be that little prime logo. So I'm going to go ahead and pop in this. Now you can go ahead and optimize this a little bit if you want with that Next.js image tag, but I'm going to show you how we can do a mix if you want to, if you need to. Right, now remember, whenever you have this, I'm going to say loading is lazy. Okay, now we should see for anything that has prime delivery, let's go ahead and double check. Let's say this one has prime delivery, so I'm going to click that. Then we should be able to see, so right now we can't see that has prime. Right, which means we're most likely not passing in that prop correctly at this point, right? But before we go ahead and scrap that one off, right, we're going to go ahead and firstly add in free next day delivery, right? And I'm going to give a class name here of text extra small, because I don't want it to be too big, extra small, and I want to do text gray of 500. Now I am going to check through to see if I'm passing through these props correctly. Okay, so how do we do that? We go to our checkout, and let's just double check that we're passing everything through. So here we have the item, right? Now the item, let's go ahead and double check it. So inside of checkout, we have our product being mapped through. Awesome stuff. And then we have the items as so. Okay, this is looking great. And then what we need to double check is that when we're actually adding the item to the basket, so let's move over to product. Let's make sure that we're actually pushing in all the things. So here is the problem, right? So here we weren't actually passing in all of the relevant things, right? So this is a problem that you're gonna have to be aware of. What we wanna do is actually pass in all of the appropriate things. So right now I was adding in not all of the product details. So here I wanna say ID, title, pricing, description, category, image, and has prime. So in order to get a correct look at this, now we refresh, go back to our Amazon, add the items. So we've got 1 star, 2 star, 5 star. Go back and boom, now we have all the relevant information. Okay, so very important to not miss that step. Okay, but that's a very easy thing to debug. If you do want to check how to debug it, you can always console log to see what props you're passing through. Okay, so let's keep on nailing it, guys. Check out product. Let's carry on. So now we've got the next day delivery section looking amazing at this point, right? And then we're gonna have the button. Now remember, we have that beautiful little functionality. So if we go underneath this div, and then we're gonna include a button. Remember, we created our own little class name, right? Remember that custom class name of button. And then we're also gonna say margin top of auto. So that way it kind of spaces itself out. And this will just say add to basket. And you can guess what we're going to do there, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do some kind of add to basket functionality there. Oops, sorry, no, this is not what I was doing. Sorry, this is the wrong thing. I've kind of got that bit mixed up. So we need to go back to our product, and there we go. So the right hand side, this bit, what we actually want to do is 2 buttons. I got it confused. We need 2 buttons on the right hand side. So what I actually want to do is after the has prime, what we're going to do is go out of this. So we're just going to go to the ending div, a line up from the ending div. Somebody says, am I too late? No, you're not too late. Don't worry, dude. You can always join this challenge. It's never too late. So here we're going to have the write, add, and remove buttons. Okay. So it's going to say write, add, and remove buttons like so. Hit save. And then we've got the div. Okay, awesome. I'm going to have 2 buttons in here. One is going to say add to basket, and one is going to say remove from basket. So I'm going to go ahead and paste it. And one is going to say remove from basket. Nice, looking good. Okay, so this is looking great. What I can then do is do my double cursor trick. So if you click option and click in 2 places, you now get double cursors. And here I'm going to say button. So nice little trick for you. And now they get the button styling. Okay, now in order to get them looking the way we need to, I'm going to go to the outer div, go ahead and say class name equals, right? And stick with me, guys, we are almost there. Okay, we're going to say class name equals flex column. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and say space y of 2. Right, so this is looking great at the moment. With space y of 2, my of auto, so margin on the y-axis of auto, and then I'm also going to say justify self on end. Okay, so it's a little trick to kind of place it in a nice way. Okay, so this is looking pretty good, right? So now you can see, look at this, guys. Go ahead and mess around with it, and you can see it looks amazing, right? So this is looking great at the moment. Right, so everything's looking great. Now the thing that we're missing is this right hand side portion. Okay, so firstly I want to go ahead and actually hook up the add to basket functionality, which we already pretty much did earlier, right? So we're going to do the same principle here, and we'll say on click add item to basket. So it's going to be a local function, add item to basket. Go ahead and copy the file name, go up to the top, and then what we do is we go above this and we go ahead and say const add item to basket, and this is going to be an inline function. There we go. And here what I'm going to do is very similar to what we did before. Remember, we need to dispatch something, so I need the dispatch gun. That's what I like to think of it, right? Dispatch gun, and then we say equals use a dispatch, a very handy hook to get hold of that dispatch object. Okay, guys, we're almost at 700 likes. Wow, pushing, right? So I'm going to go ahead and we push that, we pulled in the dispatch, and I also need to import the add to basket, and this time I'm going to import the remove from basket. We haven't yet coded it, but we will do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and check it. So the reason why it says add to basket here is because I'm going to allow you to add in a second one. So if you want to add a second one, a third one, a fourth one, you can go ahead and add more in. If you don't want to, you can just have remove from basket. It's okay, right? But I'm just showing you how you can do both. Okay, let's go ahead and check this one out. Right, so now what we're going to say is we're going to go ahead and click on dispatch. Okay, so this is going to go ahead and say dispatch, and then here I say add the item to basket. So add item to basket, open parentheses, and instead, usually before I created the product beforehand, we can do it again. We can say const product. Let's go ahead and say const product equals, and what I'm going to do here, and the product itself is going to be all of these things over here. Okay, so it's going to be the ID, the title, all that stuff. Great. And then we're going to add the item to the basket, and it's going to be this product. Okay, so again, this is where we push it into the Redux store. So push item into Redux. Nice. And then if I was to go ahead and click add to item to basket now, boom, we added another one to the basket. If I click men's cotton jacket, boom. And your challenge, there's going to be an additional bit of homework here where you can pretty much go ahead and if you can group them together, that would be awesome as well. Okay, so I'm leaving that up to you guys if you want to go ahead and implement it, but like some kind of, a counter of how many items are in the basket, that would be amazing as well. Okay, so again, leaving that up to you guys to go ahead and implement. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and say on click, out of this, we're going to say on click, remove item from basket. Okay, so this is the next one. We're going to say const remove item from basket. Okay, now here what we're going to do is create another inline function, and this one is going to be at the top. So we're going to say const remove item from basket. It's going to be another inline arrow function. Okay, and then here what we're going to say is dispatch, and we're going to do a remove item from basket. So remove from basket action is going to get submitted. But here, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pass in as an argument the ID as an object. Okay, so it's going to be ID as an object. So all I want to do is I want to pass in the ID, and then I'm going to have the logic inside of the basket slice, which will go ahead and find the item and remove it from the basket. So we're going to build that right now. Okay. So this will go ahead and say remove the item from Redux. Okay, so quick little water break, guys. We are doing amazing. We still have 280 people across platforms, breaking 700 likes very soon. Incredible stuff, guys. Let's keep on going. We are so close, guys. Right, so now what we're going to be doing is we're going to implement the remove item from a basket functionality. So I'm going to hit save. I'm going to go to my basket slice. Okay, now inside the basket slice, guys, what we're going to do is implement a bit of logic here. Now this bit is actually pretty interesting. Okay, so we have a problem here. We need to go ahead and find, right, the item with the ID of where we click add remove from basket. So when I click this, I have an ID. So I need to go ahead and do a bit of JavaScript now to go ahead and say, okay, search for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to search through that list and find something called the index, right? So what I do is I say const index equals, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the index of that item. So see if it exists inside that list. So I'm going to say state.items, right, to go ahead and go through the Redux items and say find the index. This is a ES6 function. And then what we do here is we go through every single basket item. Now for every single basket item, I need to check against something, right? Because remember, we're trying to find something which matches the ID that we clicked remove from, okay? So what am I checking? I'm checking against the basket items ID. So the item that we're iterating through, I'm checking against that one. And I'm checking if that is equal to the ID that we pass in. And remember what I said, when we pass in this ID, it comes through as the action.payload. So here I can say action.payload.id. Okay, so that line in itself is going to go through and find the item. Okay, so this is just going to refresh, which means you lost the state. For now, that's fine. But for now, let's focus on this, right? So we're going to go ahead and say const index equals find this, right? So this will go ahead and go through that list. And if it finds it, it's going to go ahead and do what we do. Now, this is actually kind of easier for you guys to see because it's a bit more personal with me. So maybe this will help you out when we're doing this. The next thing I'm going to do is say let index, right? New basket. So I need to create a copy of the current basket. And this is very important because I'm going to be changing the current basket, and then it's going to go ahead and do its thing. So we're going to say make a copy of the current basket. So make a copy, so an array with state.item. So this is basically a copy of the basket, and we're going to be able to change this one as we need to. And now this is the important part. Okay, if it found the item that we were trying to remove, this index will be greater than 0. So obviously, if it was in the 3rd place in that list, it would be there at the 3rd place, right? If it wasn't found in the list, it returns something, it returns a -1 value. So what we can do now is we can go ahead and say, if the index is greater than or equal to 0, then we have an item. So the item exists in the basket, the item exists in the basket. Remove it, basically. Okay. Else, the item doesn't exist. And in that case, what I can do is I can say console.warn, for example, to provide some useful information. And I can basically go ahead and pop in something like this. I say cannot remove the product as it's not in the basket. Okay, and you probably wouldn't reach this point because it won't even show you the product on the page in the first place. But it's good to, you know, showcase yourself like that. Sum It Up says, it's the best YouTube channel on the planet. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, dude. Thank you so much. So what I'm going to do here is where it says the item exists in the basket, remove it. At this point, I'm going to say new basket. So with the copy dot splice. Now, what we're doing here, splice is a very interesting function. It's going to go ahead and go to the index that we found, right? Remember, we click remove item from basket and we have the ID that we passed in, right? We go ahead and we check if that ID exists in the list. If the item exists in the list, it will give us a number of where it exists in the list. So what I'm doing is I'm splicing that point in this. Splicing basically just means cutting it out, right? So I'm going to that point in the list and I'm cutting it by 1. Which means that it basically just removes it from the basket. That's essentially what it's doing, okay? And then the final bit of logic to this, to make everything work, is we just say state.items equals new basket. Because what actually happens here is it cuts it out, and then what we're doing is we're assigning the items, so the global store, to that basket, the new basket, which has the item removed. That is how we do it, okay? That's how we do it, and that's going to be awesome. So let's go ahead and hit save. Okay, so let's go ahead and check this out now. Let's see if all of this hard work went ahead and fixed our issue. So let me know, guys, if you like that view, if that actually made it quite handy. Now, some people are saying use the filter array. The filter array will get rid of all of the items with that ID. So you don't want to use filter. Lots of people make this mistake. If you do filter, it gets rid of every single item with the ID. You don't want to do that. Right? That's why you don't want to do it. So a lot of people are asking that question. So yeah. So now you can go ahead and check this one out. So what we're going to do now is click on Amazon, click on some items over here. Let's go ahead and pop this in. Nice. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and click on the basket. Now, if I click on remove from basket, boom, it worked, right? Guys, we are so close to 700. If you thought that was pretty cool, that we can add items to basket and I can remove them from the basket. I can remove it from the basket and add as many as I want, remove as many as I want until your Amazon basket is empty. Awesome stuff, guys. So the state work is working. Everything is looking great, right? So everything is looking amazing right now. We are so close, guys, to the end point. So stick with me. We are nearly there. Let's keep on moving strong. Let's keep the energy high. The next step, what we're going to do is implement this subtotal section on the right-hand side. Okay, so how do we implement that section? We go back to the checkout product. Okay, so the checkout product is got the add to basket, remove from basket section. And then what we have is we go back to checkout, we go back to the checkout page. So where we had the checkout page, let me go ahead and just double check. Where we had this checkout page, what we want to do now is, Rishabh says, I purchased, so Rishabh, I'm not actually part of PWJ. So this is, my course is called Zero to Full Stack Hero. It's different. I'm not in PWJ, just FYI, right? So that's, I'm not a part of that, right? So I just want to make that very clear to everyone watching. Okay. Avni says, will you deploy today? Yes, because remember, we connected to Versal yesterday. So all I need to do to deploy today is push my code to GitHub and then it will trigger a redeployment. But I'm going to show you how to do it, okay? So now if I go and click on the right-hand side, so what we're going to do now is we're inside the checkout page. So I'm going to build out this portion over here, okay? So I'm going to click on, I'm going to say items.length. So items items.length. So if you're Rishabh, you can feel free to check out papareact.com to check it out. Okay. So items.length, if it's greater than 0, then I want to go ahead and render out that, you know, if we don't have any items in the checkout, so if I remove everything, I don't want to show it, right? But if we do have items there, then I want to show it. Okay. So let's go ahead and see this. Unity Sharp, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Then click this out, go ahead and click on the basket. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and build this now. So if we do have items, then what we should see is I'm going to just put a React fragment because we're going to have siblings here. So this is the same thing as a div basically, right? It's no different to a div. Right? And then I'm going to say h2, okay? And then here I'm going to say, okay, I want to have the subtotal. Okay, so subtotal. Okay, so let's go ahead and do subtotal. And I'm going to add an item to the basket so I can test this as we build it. So you can see the subtotal is appearing at the bottom right now. Cool. So we've got the subtotal. And then what I'm actually going to do here is implement a bit of cool logic. So I'm going to say this OpenJSX. I'm going to say items.length. Okay, because we want to see how many. I'm going to wrap this in brackets so it looks pretty nice. So now you can see 2, right? So then what we're going to do is we're going to say 2 items, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and do the following. I'm going to say colon. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a JSX sort of space. So I'll show you that afterwards. But all I'm going to do is actually span in something. So I'm going to span, right, a currency, right? So I'm going to span in the currency. So just bear with me. I know it can be a little bit kind of crazy there. We're going to span in a currency. So now it says you cannot find currency. All we need to do is go ahead and import our stuff at the top. So let's go ahead and import the currency at the top. Cannot find the variable total. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we implement the total in just a sec. Right, so we can comment that one out for now, but we're going to prep ourselves and we're going to say font should be bold here. Okay, so the total of the items in the basket. So like this, for example, I'm going to create a really nice little function which is going to make it make it work. Okay, so that's going to be awesome. So now what I'm going to do is actually have a button underneath the H2. So I'm going to have a button underneath this H2. For the H2 as well, I'm going to have a class name. So while we're doing that, I'm going to have a class name of white space no wrap. Okay. And then what we're going to do is going to have a button. And then here I'm going to say, okay, if there is a session, all right. So if there was a session, so what I want to do is I want to protect it. If you're not logged in, you're not allowed to check out. Okay. So that's what I want to do. If you are logged in, then you're allowed to check out. So I'm going to say, if there is no session, then it's going to say sign in to check out, right? Because we need a user when we sort of check out. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense, right? Otherwise, it will say proceed to checkout. Okay, so right now it says cannot find variable session. So what we need to do at the top is pull in our session. Remember, we were using, we created our authentication portion at the beginning of today's build. So I'm going to go ahead and say const session equals user session, import that from NextAuth, and then go ahead and hit save. Looks great. And see right now it says sign in to checkout. Okay, that's perfect. We're not signed in at the moment, which is fine. We can go ahead and do that. Now what I want to do is if we're not signed in, I want to have this gray look. Otherwise I want it to be a button. So the way we can do that is we can say class name equals, by default it's a button. All right, so we're going to get the nice styling. But remember, if it's grayed out, then what I'm going to do is very simple to implement this. All we do is we get rid of this. We go ahead and pop in these, and we put our little sort of back ticks instead. And then we go ahead and say JSX. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to say, firstly, I want to do margin top of 2. So we're going to, push a bit of spacing a little bit. Okay. And then here I'm going to say, oh, do we have a donation? I couldn't see it. Oh, okay. I don't know what's happening. Oh, wow. Thank you. Nikitha Devon says, thank you so much, Sunny, for introducing me to Tailwind CSS, Firebase, Next.js, and more. Awesome video. Keep going. Thank you so much. That was actually a donation through the other link, which was amazing. Thank you so much. So now we've got button MT2. And then here I'm going to say, okay, if there was no session, right, then I'm going to apply the following styles. So this is how we apply those styles. We say from gray 300. So I'm going to get a gradient. To gray 500, right? And then I'm going to say border should be gray 200, and the text should be gray 300. Okay, and I'm going to do cursor not allowed, right? Well, that means that we're going to get a nice little cursor which says you can't click this. right? If I hit save now, boom, you see how it changed to sign in to checkout. Look at that. That's nice. That's very clean, right? So it's extremely nice and clean to see. Okay. So what we're going to do now is actually have a quick water break. So a quick little hydration. And guys, we're so close to the end now, right? So keep on going. Nearly at 700 likes, guys. Absolutely crushing. Considering this is day 3 of the challenge, wow, it's incredible how many of you are sticking through. Let's go, guys. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I will toggle actually word wrap. So let's go ahead and toggle word wrap. There we go. Nice. So now what we're going to do is we have the sign into checkout cool. It looks great. So what I'm actually going to do now is for this button, I'm going to go ahead and say it's disabled if there is no session. So we're actually going to disable the button as well, because otherwise it can actually be clicked. Okay. So now what we need to do is actually have that little, the 132, right? So I actually have that number. But before I do, I'm going to style the div. So I'm going to say class name equals flex column. I want it to use up the full space. And I want the background to be white. Let's hit save, and you can already see a nice little improvement. Give it a padding of 10. Padding always makes things look super clean. So padding of 10. And there you go. And then I'm going to give it a shadow of MD. So shadow of MD medium. There we go. It looks nice now, guys. And now look what we should see. We should see, oh, look how clean that looks. All right, so it looks super nice, right? Brahim says, watching from France, amazing stuff. Right, that's looking awesome, right? So check this out, guys. So now we've got the subtotal happening here, right? So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and actually have the price, okay? So what we do is where we have a selector to pull in the items, what we can do is we can actually create any selector we want. So what if we want to have a selector which, rather than giving the let's go ahead and toggle word wrap here. I should actually just say enable this by default. So rather than having just selecting all the items, what if I wanted to like implement something better which said export? So let's go ahead and make a new one. So it's export const select total. Okay, and what this is going to do is it's going to have access to the state. But what we're doing here is I'm going to teach you guys something called a reduce. Now, our mission right now is to go through the items inside of our global store and basically calculate the total. So I want to go through every item and accumulate all of the prices into one number. So this is where we use something called a reduce ES6 function. And this is going to go ahead and calculate and accumulate all of those values up into one value. And that's going to be available as a selector that I can easily access whenever I need to. So incredibly powerful stuff, right? So now what I'm going to say is state.basket.items. And then what we do is we say .reduce. Right now, this syntax right here is an interesting one. So you're going to have to pay attention here. This gives us two things. So open up your parentheses. It gives you a total, which we can decide what we want to set as. So what I can do is I put a comma at the end and I say the total is going to start at 0. And then we actually get the item for everything every time we loop through. Remember, we're looping through all the items, okay? So what this does is we loop through every single item and we're saying the total should get added to, and we're going to add up the item.price. So think about what's happening here, okay? So look at this, guys, and this should make a bit of sense as to what's going on. So we're reducing through, which basically we're iterating through all the items in the list. We have a total which starts at a price of 0. And then every single time we iterate, we're saying total equals basically to add on the item price to the total. Okay, this will go ahead and bubble up and then go ahead and, you know, create it. Now we've got Aman Singh goes, hello from France. Thank you for your amazing videos. Thank you so much, dude, for watching. Make sure you're there for the final day. Sign up to the first link in the description. I appreciate you, dude. Amazing stuff. So now what we're going to do, select total. I'm going to grab this, and you guessed it. We're going to go back to our checkout page. I'm going to say const total equals use selector, select total. And now this will give me that total. Yeah, so now what we can do is we can go down to our code and then we can go ahead and uncomment this. And now what we should see, guys, is if I hit save on this and we go ahead and add some items to the basket, let's go ahead and add a few things to this basket. Go ahead and do this. Boom, we get a total, right? Now, if I want a little bit of spacing to the left of that, right, you can do it two ways, right? But I'm going to go ahead and show you a little hacky way. You can go ahead and add a space like that. or you can do a margin left. However you want to do it, it's completely fine. But there you go, guys. Now look at this, completely responsive, and it actually goes ahead and works. Now I want to show you something. If we sign in, we should be able to see proceed to checkout. So let's go ahead and refresh. We will lose our state, but we're going to go ahead and sign in. I'm going to sign in as papareact.team. And then boom, we should add a few products to the items, add a few items to the basket. Sorry, let's go ahead and add a few. There we go. Basket is there. And now it says proceed to checkout. Right, and look at this. If I remove an item from the basket, that total is always going to reflect the latest value, and it's calculated based on the items in the basket. So incredible stuff. And Seema says, I just subscribed, keep going, amazing stuff. Remember, if you are watching and you're enjoying this, thumbs up. We're about to break 700 likes, and make sure you subscribe, because so many people are watching right now that aren't subscribed. So make sure. Amazing stuff. Welcome to the Papa Fam, Seema. And then once I click proceed to checkout, we're going to go ahead and, we'll implement that in tomorrow's build. But guys, with that said, we just went ahead and built the checkout page with Redux. We have authentication with NextAuth. That's incredible. Everything is working the way we need it. This is looking amazing. Now, all you need to do next, if you are carrying on from yesterday's build, you would have already pushed your code to Vercel, okay? So if you don't know how to deploy to GitHub, check out yesterday's video. All you're going to need to do is push this code if you're connected to Vercel, and it will go ahead and redeploy your application. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can go ahead and do this right now. So once we go ahead and once we've got our code up and running, now what we do is we hit Command J, and then I've got my code over here. So I'm just going to double check if I got my remote. So I'm going to say git remote -v. You don't need to do this, but there we go. I've got mine connected to the right repo. Perfect stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say git add all. Okay, so it's going to add all my stuff. So I'm going to say git status, and this will see, you should see everything green, because I'm going to go ahead and push these files. And then I'm going to go ahead and say git commit -m, and I'm just going to say something like, let's just say day 3. Okay, push it, git push, and this will go ahead and push it to my GitHub. Okay, so if you've got this connected to your Vercel, then it would trigger a redeployment. Vercel, once it's connected, and guys, we just broke 700 likes, so I'm talking about, that's incredible. Thank you so much. Let's keep going, guys. Wow, honestly, incredible stuff, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and log into my Vercel account quickly, and I will show you how I have this set up. So I'm gonna do a quick login, and in the meantime, hopefully, let's go ahead and quickly continue into GitHub. And let me just do my login. In fact, what I will do here is I'll pull up my, I will open Chrome for this one, guys. So brace yourselves. We're about to use up all the RAM in the entire planet just to get this working, because Chrome does that when I'm live for some reason, right? But it's okay. It's all right. So I'm going to go ahead and pop in Vercel. There we go. And now once I've got Vercel open, you can see Amazon YouTube is connected over here. So if I click on this right now, you can see, look, it's deploying the latest version. Okay, so for your homework for tomorrow is very important. Remember, the second link in the description is how you submit your homework. What you need to do is deploy, so push your latest code to Vercel, so to GitHub, which will then trigger a redeployment. If you don't know how to connect it to Vercel, watch yesterday's build, and then you will be able to get a link. So in this case, I've got my link over here. Let's go ahead and check it out. Let's go ahead and see if it just did it right now. It's saying deploying right now. So it's building it out right now. Boom, it just done it. Look, created 1 minute ago. So now if I go to the deployment, we should be able to see, if I click on the domain, you should get your URL, and let's just double check it. If I add to basket, boom, I'm adding to the basket. It works. I have to sign in to do the checkout. That's great, okay? But remember, guys, just bear in mind, I will warn you of one thing. When you do this step, right, when you do your authentication, you're going to get this error. So if I click sign in now, and I click sign in with Google, look what happens. This is from the Vercel deployment. Wait for it. We're going to go ahead and sign in with Google. You're going to get this invalid request error. This is because we have a missing parameter, which is client ID. Think about what we're missing here. Okay, this is very important. We added in 2 environment variables, okay, when we did the deployment. So those environment variables are local to your machine, which means in Vercel, we need to upload those variables as well. So I'm going to show you how you can push those variables to Vercel to make it work and everything work together. Okay. So right now I'm going to go to Amazon to YouTube over here. I'm going to go to settings, and then we go down to environment variables. Now over here, you've got the add new function. So you've got the name of the variable and the value. So in this case, what I would say to you is go ahead, open up your code. So I'm going to go ahead, push this on the left, push this on the right. So here on the left, I have the environment variable screen. And here I'm going to go ahead and open up my environment file. Okay. So right now, I'm not going to show the entire key because you guys are going to see it all. But oh, well, I mean, it doesn't matter now. You guys can't see it all. That's fine. Oh, don't worry. Can never get away with this. But there you go. I'm going to copy my secret. I'm going to go ahead and say pop the value of the secret there. And then for the example, I'm going to say Google _ID. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and say add. Right. So this is the first one that's added. The second one, I'm going to do Google secret. I'm going to pop this here. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop this value in. And then do like so. Boom. And I'm going to go ahead and hit add. Okay, so I've just added in those two environment variables into the build. Okay, so now we have the Google secret and Google ID. This is crucial. If you do not do this, it will not work. Okay, so make sure you do this. And this is very important because tomorrow we have a few more environment variables that we are going to have to account for. Okay, also you do have the NextAuth URL as well, which is another thing that we have to account for. But let's go ahead and see if this will work right now with Google secret and Google ID. So to trigger a redeployment, all you're gonna have to do is click on deployments, and then where we have the most recent build, which was, let's just see, 4 minutes ago. So let's go ahead and click this and just click on redeploy. Okay, and then you can go ahead and click redeploy, and this will trigger off your deployment once again. Okay, this will build out your application once again, and this domain right here can actually become your domain that you're going to add to your NextAuth. So what I mean by that is, as you can see in NextAuth URL, we are currently referencing your local host. Now, once you deploy your app, you're going to get a URL. You need to put that URL as your NextAuth URL. And the same goes for your host down here. And then what I would recommend is that you go ahead and get your own domain name. So I do sunnysanga.com. And then these are my values for sunnysanga.com. On the local machine, they're the local host, but on Vercel, I use the domain name. But if you don't want to buy a domain name, you can simply use your domain name here to be the values. Okay, so take your time, take your time with this step. If you get stuck, the Facebook group is where you can go to go ahead and ask for help. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what happens. Now, most likely what's going to happen is it will deploy, and then it will say on the Google side, we have not allowed that sort of redirect URI. So remember, we have to allow it access to that URI before. So we're going to have to do the same thing again. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up one more time let's go ahead and click overview. Let's go ahead and click Amazon 2. And then it says created 1 minute ago. Awesome stuff. I'm going to click on that deployment, but you also get a nice little domain over here. So we're going to click this domain. Okay. This looks good. I can add to basket. It's there. I can click sign in. Great. And if I click sign in with Google, let's see what it says. Okay, let's go ahead and click sign in with Google. And then here we go. This is the next area. You're going to get redirect URI mismatch. Okay, so for this one, you need to go ahead and do the same thing, right? It's very simple to fix this error. Don't freak out. You just copy this link. Remember, you visit this link, and then we have to add in these. So I'll show you how to do it right now. We go ahead and go back to the Google Cloud platform. So let's go back to our page over on Google Cloud. And then I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I'm signed in to the correct app. So let me go ahead and just quickly sign into the correct app. Guys, we're almost at the end right now. So this is great stuff. Stick with me and we are going to keep on going. Okay, so here we do it. We have it right here. Okay, so this is where we add in that URI. So this was the link we had to include. So this one right here, all the way up until callback Google. Okay, so I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to go to my client and I'm going to say, okay, let's go ahead and add a URI, hit paste. And you can see it's quite lengthy, but it's okay, right? It's okay. And then once we do that, I'm also going to go into here and I'm going to copy it, but I'm going to get rid of all of the additional things. So it should just go up to the point where it says API. So it's just vercel.app, right? And you can have the cleaner one if you want. You can have all of that stuff to just use this one, right? That is in the one that you have on your side. Just get rid of everything up to Versal app. Then click save. Okay. Now, once this is done, right? And remember, these steps are the ones I just want you to take your time with it. Okay. Just take your time with it, and things will be okay. Then you can click back to go back to your original website. Okay. And then you can try it again. So let's go ahead and, let's sign in with Google, click sign in with Google, and then boom, and now it works. Okay, so do you see how it's very important to make sure you follow these steps carefully? Then we have the authentication working and it looks great. Okay, so if I click on add to basket, there we go. You should get this. This is where you need to get to for your homework to be considered complete. Okay, so your authentication should work. And it's also very essential that you follow those steps, because in tomorrow's build, we have a few more environment variables that we're going to need to tinker with, right? So remember, do not get frustrated. Take your time with this end step, because it's not difficult. It's just you need to take your time with it. Okay. So you can go ahead and just ask for help in the Facebook group or watch this back slowly. But I pretty much went ahead and showed you how to do it now, so you can go ahead and, get up to speed with that. So remember, do not forget the environment step at the end where you add in those custom environment variables. It's crucial that you do that step. Okay. Jake Zoo says, I'm late, but I'm keeping up. Let's go. Amazing stuff. Tom G says, great stream. Thanks. Thank you so much, dude. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And guys, like I said, hit the first link in the description to sign up to day 5, where we give away all the prizes. We go crazy, and I teach you I'm basically going to lay out the ultimate roadmap for how you can take all of these skills that you learned throughout this build, combine it with your portfolio, land your dream job, and push your career to the best point it's ever been. Okay. Bishao, thank you so much, everyone. You're incredible. Now I'm going to go ahead and just run through what we built today just to wrap up for today's build. We went ahead and built out NextAuth Authentication. So now we just done the Google sign-in flow. We can even click it to log out. Nice. And then we also went ahead and added in the Redux checkout page functionality. So that way we can have this page right here. That is your homework for today. I'm going to go ahead and show you what you can expect in tomorrow's build. Right, so in tomorrow's build, make sure you set the notification reminder, hit the bell icon, set your notifications. Do not miss that build, because in tomorrow's build, I'm going to be showing you how to take it to a whole nother level. Okay, so in tomorrow's build, we are going to basically go ahead and be able to add items to the basket, just like we did right now. But we're going to be able to click the proceed to checkout button, and then you're going to be able to implement this, which is an entire payment form, right? So this is all happening in tomorrow's build. I'm going to quickly fill out the payment details. So I'm going to go ahead and add in some dummy details right now, and then give it 1 second, guys. We're going to create our own webhook. We're going to do so much crazy cool work tomorrow with the Stripe CLI and Stripe and all that good stuff. It's going to be so much fun tomorrow. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click pay. This is all happening tomorrow. So if you haven't already, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, because all of this good stuff is going to come to you tomorrow. And then we're going to click, it's going to process. Once it's processed, it's going to hit a webhook that we are going to create. And then it's going to go ahead and confirm your order. This would have hit a magic webhook. And then we're going to click on go to my orders. And then boom, the order is now there. This is what we're going to build tomorrow. Everything is fully responsive. It looks amazing. That is going to be a challenge. So day 1, we started with the front end stuff. Day 2, we moved over into the authentication and a bit more of the harder front end stuff, to Redux territory. Day 3, we go to the challenging point. We're going to push our limits. We're going to implement Stripe. We're going to write our first own custom webhook. We're going to learn how to use the Stripe CLI, all in another amazing fun stream. This is what the Puppet Farm's about, guys. Do not worry if you get stuck. Facebook community, like I said, hit the first link in the description, sign up. I love you all. Thank you so much for today. And yeah, guys, this is incredible. Somebody said 13 orders. Yeah, I've been testing this out. If you haven't wondered already, I've been testing this out. But yeah, guys, make sure you submit all your homework, and I will see all of your beautiful faces in tomorrow's video. Thank you so much, guys. And as always, this is your boy Papa React. I'm signing off, and I'll see you in day 4 of the 5-day Amazon challenge. Peace, guys.
I keep checking my phone, yeah. Seeing all these people, having someone to lean on while